to Crime in Court. My name is Heather, and this is an update in the Justice for Enrique Delgado-Garcia series that I am doing a deep dive on. So he is the recruit for the Mass State Police who lost his life due to some very severe injuries during a supposed training, boxing training exercise. So we've gone over the extent of his injuries already, and he had broken teeth, a broken leg, he had a C-spine, a neck, broken neck, and this is all from boxing. Apparently, he had bruises all over his body. He had severe brain trauma, and I'm probably forgetting some, but he was severely injured from a boxing incident training, which was only supposed to be like limited to one round, 2-minute round or something like that for training purposes. However, there's been word and rumor talk about these things called fight night, where the the regulars would bet on and pay money for, place money on certain people fighting one another, boxing one another, whatever. And they're told, whatever you do, don't quit, just keep going no matter what, and things like that. So they are really pressured to perform in a certain way. Apparently, and this is rumors, I can't confirm or deny, but this is what these have been going on for a while at this recruitment, kind of like a hazing, these fight nights. So it's from the rumors that have been going around about this particular incident. It was someone who far outweighed or outmatched Enrique in boxing and size and strength. So already there was an issue with that. So there was safety issues. They weren't, performing these exercises under stricter. It wasn't an exercise if they're betting on each other to fight. Basically, they're not. This isn't protocol. So the ACLU has gotten involved in this conversation, and here are a few things that they say. This was September 20th of just 4 days ago. The ACLU of Massachusetts calls for urgent federal investigation into the violent loss of the life of state police recruit. Allegations of the big fat A word I can't say on YouTube. So Jesse Rossman, legal director at the ACLU of Massachusetts, released the following statement in a response to the violent loss of life of Enrique Delgado-Garcia and allegations of and discrimination at the Massachusetts State Police Academy. The loss of Enrique Delgado-Garcia and allegations of and discrimination at the Massachusetts State Police Academy require a thorough, independent investigation. Mr. Delgado-Garcia reportedly was beaten to where his life was lost at the State Police Academy more than a week ago. His fatal injuries were reportedly incredibly severe, including damage to his brain, a broken neck, and missing teeth. It is hard to imagine how such injuries could have been inflicted in a closely supervised training environment. I agree, it is hard to understand how this happens when you're supervised and you're following protocol so that you minimize risk. Since Mr. Delgado Garcia's loss of life, one of his former classmates has described his own personal experiences at the academy, alleging severe instances of and discrimination. Against the backdrop of Mr. Delgado Garcia's loss of life, this raises serious questions about whether there is a pattern and practice of discrimination or other systemic illegality at the academy. What other illegal acts are going on system-wide throughout your police academy? Your police academy, you're supposed to be protecting and serving the law, which means you're supposed to also be following the law. but apparently that is not the case. It is critical that allegations of misconduct, discrimination, and we'll say maltreatment at police training facilities, especially at the state police academy, and especially after a violent loss of life has occurred, be thoroughly, impartially, and rapidly investigated. After more than a week, Massachusetts law enforcement agencies have yet to launch an independent investigation. Because the state police are embedded in every major law enforcement agency in the Commonwealth, it appears there is currently no state level law enforcement agency in a position to do so. You're all corrupt or somehow involved in something. So, federal authorities like the U.S. Attorney's Office and Federal Bureau of Investigation should urgently step in and initiate an immediate federal investigation into Mr. Delgado-Garcia's loss of life and related circumstances. In the long term, this raises the broader question about why there is no routine way to investigate potential mass state police misconduct within the Commonwealth. That's a good question. Who is policing the mass state police? Oh, I know, it's themselves, and they don't get themselves in trouble ever. They cover for each other and they have each other's backs. Every state actor, including law enforcement, requires oversight. The lack of an established state led mechanism to investigate these types of allegations involving state police is highly concerning. And I agree. So that was statements from the ACLU of Massachusetts. So they are on board with, whoops, this is not the Menendez trial. Hold on one sec. Okay, sorry, had to readjust. All right, so obviously the ACLU is in support of some outside investigative agency to come in, like the FBI, to investigate this or the AG's office, because the DA's offices are not cutting it, and they're all involved, and that's who would be, themselves, their own agency would be basically policing themselves, which, as we know, that doesn't work. So let's move on next to, so we have now an assigned investigator for this. So it's been over a week. So the injuries were sustained on a Thursday night. He lost his life on a Friday. That was over a week ago. Today is Tuesday. So he lost his life on the 13th. So now it's the 24th. So it's been 11 days. And we still have not been given much more information. So we do have a new investigator that has been assigned to this. So they have assigned a special prosecutor. Let's listen to a quick news clip regarding this.
And the governor suggests this may not be the state's only move in this case. The investigator is a former prosecutor who will have wide authority to determine exactly what happened. Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Lisa Hughes.
And I'm David Wade. The WBZI team broke the news that Enrique Delgado-Garcia had been critically hurt in a boxing program at the academy. We know tonight that boxing program is being dropped. WBZ's Louisa Muller's live in studio with us tonight. Louisa, it's been 10 days since Delgado-Garcia died, but the investigation sort of off to a slow start here.
Well, David, Lisa, one of the reasons it took so long to get to this point is that the state police are involved in most death investigations in this state. But this independent investigator will have complete authority to select his own team.
I support anything to move this forward. It's been a week. The family is anxious for answers. This is a terrible tragedy, and we need to get to the bottom of it.
Governor Maura Healey calling for answers in the death of Trooper Enrique Delgado-Garcia. And now the process is one step closer. The Attorney General announcing Monday the appointment of independent investigator David Meyer, a trial lawyer for 30 years and partner in law firm Todd & Weld, and former chief of homicide investigations for Suffolk County. Meyer will choose his own team, and the Massachusetts State Police will have no involvement in his investigation.
And because of this,
That's key. They cannot be any part of it. But the problem is, too, now, that it's been 11 days, people talk, people get their story straight. It's been so long that you're not going to get the most accurate and thorough investigation as you would have if this would have been decided very early on who was investigating. And that's another problem with not having a protocol, a guidelines as to what happens when you need to police yourself. Who's policing the Mass State Police?
This close relationship, someone else will be handling this matter.
Last week, Worcester District Attorney Joe Early recused himself from the investigation after revealing that Delgado-Garcia worked in his office as a victim witness advocate. But Early said troopers assigned to his office would continue to look into what happened after Delgado-Garcia died from injuries he suffered in the boxing ring at the State Police Academy. Later in the week, State Senator Michael Moore and 2 other lawmakers asked for the Attorney General to take it a step further.
Every year, it seems to be that we're having a new incident with the state police, and so I think if we really want to make sure that the public perception of the state police is not further tarnished, that we have an independent entity come in.
Now, while the wheels of justice turn, changes are also taking place at the State Police Academy. The boxing program suspended, and Governor Maura Healey says more changes could be coming.
The colonel has undertaken a review of all the defensive tactics programs. And one of the things I'm going to ask the new colonel to do when he begins is to undertake an independent review of all of the academy's programs and trainings.
Now, Meyer previously served as special counsel to Governor Deval Patrick, trying to find individuals impacted by the tampering scandal at the Hinton State Drug Lab, which led to the dismissal of tens of thousands of drug convictions. Lisa.
Such a huge case, Louisa. Thank you.
Wow. All right. So this guy, David Meyer, might be kind of a big deal. Who is David Meyer? I have no idea. So I looked him up. I don't even know if I'm saying his name right, but he is a partner at Todd and Weld LLP. David Meyer brings the insight, judgment, and perspective of 2 decades of experience as a respected trial prosecutor to his work defending individuals and companies against criminal charges. So he's a criminal defense attorney. That's awesome. But he's a prosecutor as well. Respected trial prosecutor against criminal charges. All right. So a trial attorney for over 30 years, David Meyer is chair of the firm's Government Investigations and Criminal Defense Practice Group. Mr. Meyer represents private individuals and companies during the pre-charging investigation stages throughout grand jury proceedings and at trial in state and federal court. Over the past 10 years, he has obtained favorable results, including not guilty verdicts, dismissal of criminal charges, and non-prosecution of alleged criminal conduct for hundreds of clients. So is he going to get the Mass State Police off on their many, many crimes? All the hundreds of Mass State Police that should be fired, but instead are probably going to be not even looked at. They're going to look the other way. Potentially. I don't know. I don't know this guy from Adam. Why does he have criminal experience but he's also prosecuting this case? It's bizarre to me, right? Does this make sense to you guys? So Mr. Meyer is a fellow of prestigious American College of Trial Lawyers. He was selected by Best Lawyers in America as the 2023 Criminal Defense General Practice Lawyer of the Year in Boston. In addition to Best Lawyers, Mr. Meyer is regularly recognized as one of the premier trial attorneys in his field by New England Super Lawyers and Massachusetts Lawyers Weekly. In 2012 through 2013, Mr. Meyer served as special counsel to Governor Deval Patrick in overseeing the investigations into the identification of all individuals potentially impacted by the misconduct at the Massachusetts Department of Public Health Drug Laboratory. So that is interesting. He was the special counsel to oversee an investigation into this public health drug lab. And what were the results of that? That said they got a bunch of drug charges dismissed. So was there some kind of misconduct going on where they were charging people um, m- m- inappropriately charging people for drug-related crimes or things like that? I have no idea, but some some kind of huge scandal she was talking about in that news clip. Anyways, I don't know. I'm not local, so I don't know the news there, but this is the man who's going to be investigating Enrique Delgado Garcia's, I say, homicide. Although I don't believe we have a ruling yet as to what happened to him. And finally, as we were at the other, hold on one second. All right, sorry. So finally, I wanted to play another quick clip of a news segment for you. The prior news segment talked a little bit about the fact that the boxing program has been suspended after this happened to Enrique. So let's hear a little bit more about that.
And some new developments this morning after the death of a 25-year-old state trooper, Enrique Delgado-Garcia. Massachusetts State Police announcing it suspended a boxing training exercise at the academy. This is until further notice.
NBC 10's Manoj Pongwari has stayed on top of the story for us. He's live this morning outside of police headquarters in Framingham. Manoj, do you have some new details?
Well, it was that training exercise that led to the death of Enrique Delgado-Garcia. But because it's part of the Mass State Police Academy, MSP can't investigate what happened. They do, however, say they're taking steps to address this matter, in addition to suspending that activity altogether. Lieutenant Colonel John Mon has reportedly directed the State Police Division of Standards and Training to review the Academy's defense tactics program. And now we're learning the full contact boxing training has been suspended. At this time, it's uncertain for how long, but it
Full contact training suspended, boxing programs suspended. Maura Healey, the governor, in the last video said that she's going to have the new superintendent of the state police who's coming in. I can't remember his name now. She's going to have him take a look at all of the programs. I don't think that's going to give us any solace right now. I think they need to not just review the programs, but they need a thorough, widespread investigation, and we need to have confidence and trust in that investigation. Otherwise, we're not going to know the outcome. We're not going to know what really happened to Enrique. So we need some actual investigators doing some actual work in the state of Massachusetts.
It was that exercise that led to Delgado sustaining serious injuries like missing teeth, skull damage, and a fractured neck, which ultimately led to his death. Now even the ACLU is publicly demanding answers.
It's hard to understand without an investigation how these kinds of injuries could have been inflicted in a closely supervised training environment. And that's why Mr. Delgado-Garcia's family, his friends, and the entire public deserve a thorough and transparent investigation.
And that woman was the same woman who gave the quotes in this article here, the Jesse Rossman from the ACLU of Massachusetts.
Well, going forward, we know that a funeral service will be held for Delgado-Garcia this coming Saturday. He will be laid to rest at Hope Cemetery in Worcester. We've also learned that the state police has offered his family their full support in terms of services for burial and for the wake. But for right now, we're live here in Framingham. Manoj Pongwari, NBC 10 Boston.
So there is going to be a funeral this Saturday, this week, the 28th of September. Very, very sad. The story is just heartbreaking for the family of Enrique, wanting answers, wanting to know what's going on. He is another victim of the corruption in the Massachusetts State Police. And they really need to do a good, thorough investigation on this and ideally publishing the results or the findings, or being upfront and letting us see what the results are of the investigation would be key, in my opinion, in order to start to gain back some trust. Potentially, if there is a lot of misconduct to be found, which I believe there will be, then you also need a plan to clean out the house, and bring in new fresh blood who and it starts at the top. It doesn't, these aren't the recruits that are the problem. It's the people at the top. It's the people in power right now that are perpetrating this behavior and this type of environment for these men to work in. This macho, gotta be, beat everybody up type of mentality. And honestly, what do they need all that boxing training for? I mean, some hand to hand, okay, fine, maybe, but you're not an MMA fighter. You shouldn't be potentially breaking bones and necks and teeth and legs. You shouldn't be doing that in the ring for a training exercise for a Massachusetts State Police recruit who's about to be graduating in 2 weeks. That means graduation is coming for now this class that he was in, and it's going to be very, very bittersweet for the entire class, I'm sure, to not have Enrique walking and marching with them. I'm sure that that is going to be difficult. I don't know when the ceremony is going to be. I haven't heard anything about that, but I just realized it's going to be probably like right now, soon, this week. If anything, or next week, early next week, because um, he was 2 weeks away from graduating. The class was about to graduate. So it's been 2 weeks now, or this end of the week. I'm sorry, it hasn't been 2 weeks yet. By the end of this week, it will be 2 weeks. So he would have been graduating, which is really, like I said, really bittersweet. And I just hope that the family can find some solace. By the way, that you can donate to the family. I'll see if I can find the link and put it in my comments below, or in the description, because there is a fundraiser for Enrique's family to do their own independent investigation, to get their own experts and whatnots so that they can look into this. So they've been raising money. The Free Karen Reed crowd has kind of like, since it's already been in effect, and there's this group of people that are already expressing their concerns there, when something else happens, they were ready to just like get going and spread the word on this. So they've been helping too with the fundraising, the Karen Reed crowd, as well as the Sandra Birchmore. They're all connected. Justin Root, we have to do a Justin Root episode or two also. I'm working on that, just so you know. So, anyways, sorry, I'm just rambling now, but yeah, I'm. It's good that the ACLU has gotten involved, in my opinion, in this conversation, and hopefully the ACLU will continue to put pressure on the special prosecutor so that we can get some kind of results that we can have some kind of faith in, because the faith in law enforcement in Massachusetts is no longer there. Um, unless unless you're a McCabe or an Albert or someone in law enforcement, and you're in your own little cop gang. It's pretty much what it is, a little cop gang. Anyways, all right, I will let you guys go before I ramble anymore. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit the like button on your way out. Let me know what you want to know about this Enrique case, and I will do my own research and look into it if there is something that interests you guys. Let me know, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. See ya. Bye now.